I've heard every excuse under the sun of why you don't want to use cast iron. And you complain in the comments and you say all kinds of different things. And today we're going to expose 5 things that you guys have said in the comments and what you can do to overcome it today. So let's get into it. Number 1, everything sticks, especially eggs. Oh, okay. All right. Well, here's the reason why. The first problem that you have is your heat management. Okay, heat management is that your new high needs to be medium. And the other thing that I see a lot of people in the comments, what they don't do is you don't preheat your cast iron. I mean, this baby is thick. It takes her a little while to warm up. You got to have patience when you're using cast iron. So 5 to 10 minutes, let her preheat, and then you're good to go. And then you can put your eggs in. And I don't know if you guys watch me fumble through making eggs. Well, I didn't know the dial on my stove, and so it got a little hotter than it should have. But at the same time, you gotta figure that out on your own. Next up. So here's a good one. You're worried about, scratching your glass top. You have like one of those glass top stoves and you want to use cast iron. Well, in fact, I think Bob Travis actually moved into his new place and he's cooking on a glass top stove and he's doing just fine. The thing is, with cooking on a glass top stove, you can't just slide her around and do all that stuff like you're used to on a gas top. You gotta literally set her down. Set her down. And then you do your thing. So don't let, don't let cooking on cast iron hold you back if you're on a glass top or you're using an electric stove. I hear these excuses a lot. So anyway, next up. So the next one I hear is it's too heavy and it hurts my wrists and it hurts my hands. And you know what? If you are a certain age, I totally understand that. And this particular pan is a vintage pan. It doesn't have the little helper handle, on this side where it's like a little notch, where Lodge has. But this 10-inch Wagner is about 4 pounds less heavy than the same pan if you bought from Lodge. So if you want to cook on cast iron and you're getting up there in years, then maybe you should find a vintage pan. Find a vintage one because they're thinner and they're a little easier to handle and all that kind of stuff. So next up, I don't have time for a 25-step ritual to season my cast iron. Well, yeah. Well, you don't need a 25-step ritual to do your cast iron. You just basically need to fry some bacon, use a little Crisco, and, essentially, you just need to cook on your pan. I hear so many people complaining about, seasoning this, seasoning that, but the reality is it's just because you're not cooking in it. If you cook in your cast iron regular, then all those seasoning problems are going to go away. The people that have the most problems are the ones that don't actually cook on cast iron. So, next up. It takes too much time to maintain my cast iron. Seriously? Really? That's your problem? Is it takes too much time. And this is the difference between my culture and yours. And maybe we were brought up in 2 different eras, because I remember, having to watch TV and I had to watch shows and, do all these things and watch commercials and do these things to watch the show that I wanted to watch. Like whether it be like a Saturday morning commercial or Saturday morning cartoons or whatever. I had to do the thing to get the thing that I wanted. I had to watch the commercials and I had to have patience. And I think that's the biggest problem that I see in cast iron is, I see people that just don't want to be patient. Like, they want to grind it. They want to do all this crazy stuff to their pan and do all this stupid stuff, which is just, it's a bunch of hogwash, man. Like, it's just dumb. Like, really, all you got to do is get a pan, get it cleaned up. Look at this baby. She's glistening. She's like near perfect because I use this pan, cook in this pan. And I love this pan, not because it's vintage, because I love my other Lodge pan too, and I cook in it. And that's what you got to do, friend. You got to find a way to cook in your pan and just make it simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. And as always, I'm Heath Hayley, East Texas Duct Tape, and I'll see you next week. God bless, my friend. Oh, by the way, it's only 105 degrees right now. Finally got the camera to record.